Archaeologists have uncovered things that simply shouldn't exist. Enormous bones, petrified beings, and ancient remains hinting at a forgotten race.
Skeletons that measured between 7 and 8 feet in height, which for ancient man would have been rather significant.
Each discovery makes the old stories of giants sound less like myths and more like hidden truths. But the mystery doesn't end in ancient ruins.
Bit of human history. They were giants on Earth.
It reaches into modern history, and you won't believe what the soldiers in Kandahar encountered.
An elusive creature.
Back in 2002, rumors spread about soldiers in Afghanistan encountering a massive being, what many called a Nephilim giant. The government never released any official footage or statement, keeping the story buried for years. But a leaked video later surfaced online in 2020, showing a giant figure walking through a deserted valley.
An elusive creature. Alright, just squat it down.
Right after this video, another leaked video surfaced online. It was an interview with one of the soldiers who described what happened. His unit was sent into a remote area after another patrol went missing. Near a cave, they found scattered bones and broken radio parts. Then something charged out, towering over them, red-haired and incredibly fast. For nearly 30 seconds, chaos erupted. After that, silence. And that's where his story ended. But the mystery of the Nephilim giants is still a topic of discussion.
You were in Afghanistan in 2002, and you were called into a very remote section of Afghanistan because a patrol had basically gone missing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
There's no villages around
nothing
for miles.
Right. It was a nice path, goat path. So instantly we're thinking ambush, maybe animal, could be anything.
Petrified giant. While passing through the mountain ranges of Israel in 2021, a tourist spotted something that didn't look quite real. At first, he thought it was just a trick of the light, a large, odd-shaped rock. But as he moved closer, he realized it was something far more unusual, a giant figure turned entirely to stone. The figure appeared peaceful, sitting as if it had once been alive, and simply paused in time. Looking at it, he couldn't help but think, maybe ancient stories about giants weren't stories after all, and this was a petrified one. Stone Rider. Near the ruins of Pompeii, archaeologists discovered something hauntingly beautiful. The remains of a horse, still wearing its saddle and harness. The creature looked frozen mid-step, as if waiting for someone who never returned. The volcanic ash that buried Pompeii had preserved the moment perfectly, capturing every tiny detail for thousands of years. Scientists were fascinated not just by the horse itself, but by how much it revealed about life back then. It was a silent witness to a world stopped in time, standing as if ready to ride again. Guardian in stone. While studying an ancient mountain range, geologists noticed a small cave entrance carved high above the ground. Inside, the light caught something extraordinary, a massive face etched deep into the stone wall. It looked almost alive, as if silently observing those who entered. The carvings appeared ancient, possibly created by a lost civilization. Some believe it once guarded sacred grounds, while others think it marks something hidden within. Whatever its purpose, the mountain face feels less like simple rock and more like a silent keeper of secrets long forgotten. Mountain face. A YouTuber flew his drone above a stretch of green mountains in 2022. Everything looked calm until one frame revealed something strange, a huge face carved into the mountainside. The eyes, the nose, the mouth, all perfectly shaped, like nature had sculpted a person. The YouTuber thought he'd discovered something never seen before, maybe a sleeping giant or an ancient guardian. Excited, he shared the clip online. But when people took a closer look, the mystery unfolded differently. He hadn't found a secret face at all. It was Mount Rushmore, hiding in plain sight. Petrified croc. Deep in the woods of Austin, Texas, a group of friends stumbled upon something extraordinary. Near a pile of rocks lay what first appeared to be an animal's body, but as they brushed away the dirt, they realized it was a petrified giant crocodile, possibly hundreds of years old. Its jaw stretched wide, its teeth still visible, and its size was far beyond anything they had ever seen. Standing before it, they imagined how powerful it must have been when alive, the true ruler of its time, now frozen in stone. Frozen legacy. A man in New York claims his family has been keeping an incredible secret for decades: a frozen Bigfoot hidden in a private underground room. According to him, the creature was found on September 23, 1953 by his father. They named it Jimmy. It looked almost human, covered in thick hair with 5 fingers, 5 toes, and weighing more than 300 pounds. At first, they planned to hand it over to a zoo, but when it regained movement and became restless, they froze it instead. Now, 70 years later, Jimmy still lies preserved, watched over by the next generation of the same family. Cave of Giants. Deep in a remote mountain region, explorers stumbled upon a cave unlike any they'd seen before. Its walls were covered in strange carvings, patterns that looked deliberate, almost like stories etched in stone. Then they saw it, a massive face carved into the rock, its eyes hollow but lifelike. It resembled a giant frozen mid-thought, watching anyone who entered. The deeper they went, the more signs they found, symbols hinting at a civilization far older than history remembers. Scientists later called it natural erosion, but the carvings felt too intentional. Standing there in the flicker of a flashlight, it was hard not to feel like the legends of giants might hold a bit of truth.
Oh my goodness.
His guardian is a
Giant turtle.
Do you see this? Do you see this? It's nature, and it's
High in the Peruvian mountains, a traveler stumbled upon a giant rock that seemed to hold a secret from another age. Its round shape looked exactly like a turtle resting on the ground, complete with a shell-like curve, a head, and even what resembled legs. The stone was weathered and ancient, suggesting it had sat there for countless years. Some believe it's just a remarkable natural formation, while others see it as proof of those petrified giants. Whatever the truth, this massive turtle rock remains one of Peru's quiet wonders, blending mystery and nature in perfect harmony.
Do you see this? Do you see this? Freaking nature, and it's awesome.
Giants discovered. The team of archaeologists exploring Krabi Cave in Thailand in 2017 came across something no one expected: a massive skeleton lying deep inside the cave. The bone stretched almost 12 meters long, leaving everyone stunned. Strangely, the team didn't move the remains. They decided to keep everything untouched. Once their study ended, the discovery was open to the public, drawing visitors from across the world. People still visit to stand before the giant that once ruled its land. No one knows what kind of being it was, but looking at its size, it's easy to imagine it was once one of the strongest creatures to ever exist. Giant hand. In the middle of Chile's Atacama Desert, a giant hand rises from the sand, fingers reaching toward the sky. Drivers passing by often stop, unsure of what they're looking at. It seems almost alive, like something trapped beneath the earth trying to reach the surface. But as you walk closer, you see it's a sculpture, built as a reminder of human pain and strength. Standing alone in the quiet desert, it almost feels like it's speaking without words, telling a story about struggle, hope, and survival. Hidden face. A wildlife expert exploring a quiet forest expected to record sounds of animals, not faces in trees. But among the thick woods, he found an old tree with a pattern on its bark that stopped him in his tracks. Deep in the rough texture was what looked like a human-like face, shaped naturally by the tree itself. The formation was eerie, almost lifelike, reminding him of a spirit trapped in the wood. To some, it was just nature's random design, but for him, it felt like the forest had frozen a soul in silence, a watcher hidden in plain sight. ancient footprint.
Look at this. There's the, when you...
Hidden in the rugged landscape of South Africa lies something that looks impossible. A giant footprint pressed into solid granite. Standing nearly 4 feet tall, the shape is so clear that it's hard to call it a coincidence. Some scientists say erosion carved it naturally, while others believe the precision can't be explained that easily. What makes it more unbelievable is its estimated age, anywhere between 200 million and 3 billion years old. Whether it's a natural wonder or a trace of something beyond imagination, the site continues to make everyone who visits stop, stare, and question what else might be buried beneath our feet.
We want to really appreciate this as a spectacular bit of human history. There were giants on Earth.
Tide mummy. During excavations in Peru, researchers uncovered a mummy unlike any other. The remains belong to a man sitting in a tightly bound fetal position, his hands covering most of his face. The posture looked almost like he was hiding from something. This unique find, over 800 years old, left experts with more questions than answers. Some believe the position shows signs of shame or punishment, while others see it as part of an ancient ritual. The ropes, the gesture, and the silence around his story give this discovery an unspoken mystery that continues to fascinate archaeologists and visitors alike. Canyon face. A group of hikers exploring the canyons of Greece stopped in disbelief when they saw a face, enormous and carved into the rock walls ahead. From a distance, it looked alive, as if a giant had been caught mid-stare, frozen in stone. They zoomed in with their cameras, but the shape stayed the same, a perfect face formed by nature itself, or maybe by something long forgotten. Some call it a natural illusion, while others think it could be the trace of ancient beings lost to time. Whatever it was, that canyon left every visitor with the same uneasy feeling that something was watching. Tree giant.
Of the giant sequoia tree.
In Portland, Oregon, an arborist thought he'd found a boulder, but it turned out to be something far older. Hidden beneath the soil was a petrified tree stump almost 5 million years old. It belonged to a giant sequoia that once towered over ancient forests. A landslide buried it long ago, sealing it from air and slowly turning the wood into stone. Now it shines white and smooth, resembling the famous Devil's Tower in Wyoming. This ancient tree stands as a silent memory of a world that existed before humans ever walked the earth. Unusual skeleton. While searching for fossils, a group of researchers stumbled upon something that made them pause. A skeleton unlike anything they'd ever seen. Its skull was unusually long, its limbs oddly shaped, and its overall form didn't match any known creature on Earth. The bones looked almost staged, as if pulled from a science fiction film, but they were real, buried deep in the ground. Some think it's a deformed human, others whisper it might not be from our world at all. Whatever it is, one thing's certain, this discovery doesn't fit comfortably within science's usual explanations. Stone serpent. Deep in the jungles of northern Thailand stands a rock formation unlike any other, a massive stone shaped like a coiled cobra. Discovered in 2021, this snake rock rises 50 feet tall and has quickly become a place of mystery and awe. Locals say it's the form of a serpent god turned to stone to protect the land. Shamans warn that those who mock it might face strange misfortunes. Some visitors even claim to hear faint hissing after sunset. Every day, offerings of fruit and incense are left nearby to keep the stone serpent resting peacefully. Crocodile tombs. While digging in a sandy region of Egypt known as Kubat al-Hawa, archaeologists uncovered something beyond ordinary. Beneath the golden dunes lay several crocodile mummies, perfectly preserved for nearly 2,000 years. Each one was carefully wrapped, just like human mummies from ancient times. The discovery showed how deeply Egyptians respected animals, believing they had sacred ties to their gods. Experts think these crocodiles were honored through rituals or kept as spiritual protectors in the afterlife. This rare find not only revealed the skill of ancient preservation, but also gave a glimpse into how people once saw nature and spirit as one. Frozen Sea King. In early 2022, scientists in the UK uncovered a creature that looked straight out of another world. Buried beneath layers of earth was a massive marine reptile, an ichthyosaur, almost 33 feet long, with a skull heavier than a small car. Its shape looked part dolphin, part crocodile, but entirely from another age. It had lived in ancient seas nearly 180 million years ago, long before humans existed. For the archaeologists, it wasn't just a fossil, it was a frozen piece of history, preserved so perfectly that it felt like time had paused just to keep its story alive. Mini unicorn.
Unidentified remains.
Inside an old house once owned by Dr. Zeke, scientists stumbled upon something no one expected. A tiny creature in a wooden box with glass on top. It was just 11 inches long, with spiral horns on its head and nose, and even had little white teeth still intact. They named it Item Z793A. The discovery, made on September 1st, 2007, has researchers puzzled. Is it a clever creation, or could it hint at something mythical once real? For now, this strange little baby unicorn remains a mystery locked in science's hands. Giants of Lovelock.
Skeletons that measured between 7 and 8 feet in height, which, for ancient man, would have been rather significant.
In Nevada's Lovelock Cave, archaeologists unearthed something that challenged everything we know about history. Deep inside the cave, they found enormous bones, ancient tools, and pieces of clothing far too big for any normal human. Locals whispered that these belonged to the red-haired giants, a mysterious tribe said to have vanished centuries ago. The evidence didn't fully prove the legend, but it didn't deny it either. Standing inside that dark cave, it was hard not to feel that maybe, once upon a time, something much larger walked the same ground we do today.
Pieces of clothing, which was so big, looked as though they were worn by giants.
Sleeping Dragon. In 2011, a heavy machine operator in northern Alberta spotted something strange in the dirt, a chunk of rock covered in odd patterns. When scientists examined it, they realized it wasn't rock at all, but the fossilized skin of a huge creature that once roamed the earth. The shape still looked like a dragon caught in sleep, 18 feet long and weighing nearly 3,000 pounds. Experts said it belonged to a nodosaur, an armored dinosaur that had drifted into the sea millions of years ago. What made it extraordinary was how perfectly preserved it was, as if time itself had refused to let it go. Iron burials. Archaeologists exploring a quiet Bulgarian village in 2012 called Sozopol found something that instantly stood out. 2 skeletons buried with heavy iron rods driven through their chests.
To prevent suspected would-be vampires from turning into vampires, a group of brave men reopened their graves in the middle of the night and pierced the corpses with an iron or wooden rod.
The bones were around 700 years old, dating back to medieval times, and locals believe the rods were meant to stop them from rising again. Back then, people lived in deep fear of those who might return after life ended, so they buried them with iron stakes or special rituals. Out of nearly 700 graves discovered in the same area, only 2 had this treatment. That rare detail made scientists wonder what exactly made these 2 so different from the rest.
The interesting thing is that vampire cases were relatively rare, because in Sozopol we unearthed 700 Christian graves and found only 2 traces of anti-vampire manipulation.
Unknown footprints.
Can somebody tell me what the hell that is?
In a small Kentucky town, a man walked outside his home one morning and froze in disbelief. Pressed deep into the snow were massive footprints, far too large for any person, and with 3 wide, claw-like toes. He grabbed his camera, pacing around them again and again, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. The shape looked fresh, the stride impossibly long. That night, curiosity turned into unease. He set up a camera, hoping to catch what had passed by, but nothing returned, just the wind sweeping across the snow, leaving behind questions that no one could answer.
I came out to feed my dogs. I want y'all to look at this shit.
Faces in stone. Sometimes, nature plays tricks that feel almost alive. Across the world, mountain slopes have been spotted with shapes that look exactly like human faces, huge, ancient, and carved with uncanny detail. From afar, they appear like giants watching over the land, their features formed by nothing but wind, rain, and time. Centuries ago, travelers used these faces as markers and even offered prayers to them, believing they were their ancestors frozen in stone. Scientists now call them natural rock formations, but standing before one, it's easy to feel that quiet, watching presence, as if the mountain itself remembers who once walked beneath it. Eternal companions.
Animal mummies were very common in ancient Egypt. It probably started out quite gently with pet mummies, because people who loved their pets wanted the pets with them in their afterlife.
In ancient Egypt, people didn't just preserve their loved ones, they also mummified their pets. Archaeologists have found carefully wrapped animals like cats, birds, and even crocodiles. Some were beloved companions, buried beside their owners to join them in the afterlife. Others were offered to the gods as sacred gifts. One beautifully preserved dog still has its tail curled, as if ready to wag again. These animal mummies reveal just how deeply Egyptians cared for the creatures around them, not only in life, but in eternity too. It's a touching reminder that love for pets has always been timeless.
Cut off the wingtips and the feet, and then they put the sort of liver and gizzards inside. So if you want gravy in the afterlife, you have everything you need for that.
Riverbed skull.
There we go. There we go. Yes! Oh, it is a bear! It is definitely a bear skull.
During an outdoor trek in the Pacific Northwest, a group of explorers noticed something unusual buried in the muddy riverbed. A massive skull half covered in dirt and water. At first glance, they assumed it belonged to a bear, but as they cleaned it, the shape looked nothing like any known animal. The jawline, the teeth, and the size all hinted at something closer to a large primate, yet not quite human either. Some even noticed what appeared to be a small hole on the skull's surface, adding more mystery to it. Whether it was a rare discovery or something far beyond science, no one could say for sure. People of Pompeii. In the ruins of Pompeii, 2 human figures were found lying side by side, preserved just as they were when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. Layers of ash had sealed their final moments, keeping even the folds of their clothes visible. Archaeologists could tell their ages, postures, and even what they were doing when time stood still. These remains aren't just archaeological finds. They're frozen memories from the day the city turned to stone. Every detail captured in ash tells the silent story of lives that once moved, laughed, and then suddenly became part of history itself. Uluru Giant. In 2014, archaeologists working near Uluru in Australia came across a discovery that left them speechless. A skeleton over 5 meters long. The enormous remains didn't match any known species and were found alongside traces of what seemed to be an ancient civilization. Experts debated whether it was a case of extreme gigantism or evidence of something entirely unknown. Professor Hans Zimmer from the University of Adelaide cautioned that it was too early to conclude, calling for further research. Still, the thought of a towering being once walking this land has kept curiosity alive among researchers and locals alike. Buried hands. Somewhere beneath Egypt's golden sands, a strange discovery caught the world's attention. A group of scientists uncovered deep pits hidden near what seemed to be an ancient palace site. Inside, they found something that didn't fit any known record. Enormous human-like hands, preserved for ages. Some rested close to a throne chamber, others scattered outside its walls. Their size was far beyond anything human, almost mythical. No one knows who they belong to or why they were buried this way, but the find hints that ancient Egypt might still be guarding stories too old for history to remember. Eternal pair. During an excavation in Leicestershire back in 2008, archaeologists made a discovery that felt deeply human and hauntingly mysterious. They uncovered two skeletons lying side by side, their hands still joined together after centuries. The remains dated to the 14th century, and each figure stood unusually tall, nearly 8 feet. No written record explained who they were or why they were buried this way, but their position spoke for itself. Two people, bound by something strong enough to last through hundreds of years of soil and silence. Clay Army. In 1974, farmers digging for water in China unearthed something no one could have imagined. Rows of life-sized clay warriors standing beneath the earth. Each face was different, sculpted with care centuries ago. As experts examined the site, they learned the figures were created for Emperor Qin Shi Huang, built over 2,000 years ago to guard him beyond life. What began as a small village well turned into one of history's greatest archaeological discoveries. Today, that silent army still stands. Thousands of soldiers, frozen mid-watch, protecting their emperor for eternity. Giant discovery. In 2012, a team of researchers in Argentina made a discovery that could rewrite everything we know about Earth's giants. While digging through rocky terrain, they uncovered enormous dinosaur bones, 24 vertebrae from the tail, along with parts of a pelvis and chest plate. The size alone suggested something far greater than the Argentinosaurus, which was already believed to be the largest dinosaur ever found. If this new titanosaur truly existed, it would have been a colossal creature, possibly over 100 tons. Scientists are now searching for leg bones to confirm its full size, a find that might prove Earth once held beings far larger than we ever imagined. Sea Titan.
100-million-year-old dinosaur fossil in WA. The Elasmosaurus.
In the heart of Western Queensland, scientists uncovered something that stunned even the experts. The world's first fully intact Elasmosaurus fossil. This marine reptile, around 100 million years old, was found with its head still attached to its body, an incredibly rare preservation. What made it even more remarkable was that it appeared to be a young one, giving researchers insight into how these ancient sea creatures grew. It's hard to imagine, but in the same lands where kangaroos now hop, oceans once stretched wide, ruled by creatures like this. Today, that fossil rests safely at the Museum of Tropical Queensland, a perfect time capsule from a forgotten sea. Giant's Door.
There it is. Nephilim Door.
A lone hiker wandering through a canyon in the American Southwest stumbled upon something extraordinary, a massive stone doorway carved into the cliffs. Standing nearly 60 feet tall and 15 feet wide, it looked as if it belonged to another world. Locals call it the Nephilim Door, believing it might be tied to ancient legends of giants. Its smooth surface and porch-like frame made it look eerily designed. Some say it leads to hidden chambers. Others believe it only opens through ancient rituals. Whatever the truth, that silent doorway remains sealed, a mystery carved into stone, waiting for the right moment to reveal what lies beyond.
Near where the Citadel was discovered in the Grand Canyon.
Otherworldly skull.
Human-like, only much bigger and a little stranger. Next thing you know, you have a Cyclops.
While tending fields in the Midwest, a group of farm workers struck something solid beneath the dirt. As they dug deeper, a massive skull began to emerge, larger than any animal they'd ever seen. Its most unsettling feature was a single hollow opening right in the forehead. Experts were called in, and theories began flying. Could this be the remains of a real Cyclops? Some suggested a genetic condition known as cyclopia, but others believed it hinted at something ancient and forgotten. The skull measured nearly 9 feet in proportion, and even today, no one can say with certainty where it truly came from. Ancient remains. Near the Tyrrhenian Sea in Italy, archaeologists uncovered something remarkable: the remains of 9 Neanderthals, hidden deep inside a prehistoric cave known as Guattari. The discovery revealed a timeline stretching back nearly 100,000 years. 8 of the remains are believed to be around 50,000 to 68,000 years old, while 1 could be even older. With this finding, Guattari Cave has become one of the most important places for studying early human history, offering a window into a world that existed long before ours. Stucky the dog.
The rear end of Stucky here.
Inside Southern Forest World, a museum that celebrates the forestry industry, there's one exhibit visitors never forget: Stucky, the mummified dog, found inside a hollow tree along the Georgia-Alabama border in the late 1970s. This 4-year-old hound had been chasing prey when it got trapped. What's fascinating is how the tree itself preserved him. The hollow oak created an airflow that carried away scents and kept insects away, while its natural acids stopped decay. Decades later, Stucky still stands inside that same tree, a strange natural time capsule that turned a sad moment into a piece of living history. Giants of stone.
Farmer started digging around it, brushing away the mud, pulled it out, and there was this giant stone head gazing back at it.
Back in 1974, a farmer in Monte Prama, Sardinia, was working his field when his plow hit something solid. Curious, he dug deeper and uncovered a massive stone head with dark eyes staring right at him. That single discovery led to one of Italy's greatest excavations: thousands of fragments of colossal statues buried beneath the earth.
Archaeologists entered the area, and through the late 70s, they dug and they found over 5,000 fragments of these giant statues.
Some of these stone figures were nearly 9 feet tall, carved as warriors, archers, and boxers. Historians call them the Giants of Monte Prama. While experts see them as ancient art, others quietly believe they're more than that, perhaps reminders of real giants who once walked this land. Cardiff discovery. In 1869, a farmer named William Newell made a discovery on his land in Cardiff, New York: a massive stone figure buried beneath the soil. Locals believed it was proof of a real giant from ancient times. Crowds poured in to see it, amazed by its human-like shape and sheer size. But the truth eventually surfaced. The so-called Cardiff Giant was actually a hoax. It had been carved from gypsum by a businessman named George Hull, who secretly buried it to fool the public. Even after the trick was revealed, many still refuse to stop believing. Today, the Cardiff Giant rests inside a museum, a reminder of how easily mystery can blur with belief. Turtle fossil. In northern Venezuela, scientists uncovered fossils of a freshwater turtle that once ruled the land about 11 million years ago. It wasn't just big, it was gigantic. Some shells stretched over 2.4 meters long, twice the size of today's Galapagos tortoises. What made it stand out was a horn-like bump on the front of the male's shell, possibly used to defend or challenge other males. The fossils were so massive that it took 7 people to lift just one. This ancient turtle wasn't just a creature, it was a living tank of its time. Frozen mammoth calf. While digging near Eureka Creek, miners hit something solid, but it wasn't gold. It was the mummified body of a baby woolly mammoth, around 30,000 years old. Measuring 4.5 feet long, the young calf still had its hair and skin perfectly preserved. Scientists say it's the most complete mammoth ever found in North America, and that it was likely just a month old when nature froze it in time. They named her Nunchoga, meaning big baby animal, a gentle reminder of how powerful and patient time can be. Sleeping lady.
Sleeping lady.
In Alaska stands a mountain shaped like a woman lying on her back. Locals call her Lady Mount Susitna, the Sleeping Lady. According to the old story, she was once a kind giant waiting for her fiancé, Nakata, who had left to make peace with another group. but he never returned. To protect her from the pain of loss, the other giants placed her into an endless sleep, where she still rests today. Over centuries, nature covered her body with forests and snow, turning her into the mountain that watches quietly over the land. Giant sword. During an excavation in Greece, archaeologists uncovered something that left everyone speechless. A massive sword buried deep in the earth. This wasn't an ordinary weapon. It was nearly twice the size of an average human. The blade's design looked ancient, hinting it may have belonged to someone extraordinary, maybe even one of the legendary giants said to have roamed these lands. Though no one knows for sure who forged it or how it ended up buried, one thing's clear. Holding that sword must have meant holding the power of a myth itself. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.